the answer I'm looking for here is, does Dusty call the WWF, do you think, and say, "Hey, do y'all got anything for my boy?" Does Dustin reach out? How do you think all that went down as best you can recall?
I'm not sure Dusty had a lot to do with that because I think that might have been during the period of time that the relationship between father and son was a little bit frosty.
Right.
So, but you know, Bruce was aware of Dustin's abilities. We needed new characters. We needed new. Now, I said here many times, wrestling fans love new, and they love surprises.
Yes.
And so, Goldust personification of that pretty much fit. He was new. It was a surprise. Nobody had seen anything quite like it since Gorgeous George. It's funny that Gorgeous George made a phenomenal living uh, based on what's the word, Conrad, when you're he didn't like our gay. I want to say gay bashing. Something, but
He was ambiguous.
well, yeah, he was ambiguous. But the problem is that unfortunately for society, if
Oh,
you're
homophobia. Is that the word you're looking for?
yeah, that's it. Thank
Okay.
you. He built he built a career on homophobia,
Yeah.
and I think that without saying it, we expected somewhat of a comparable reaction for Goldust.
Did you guys, as best you can recall, was there already an idea for a Goldust character? Like just the look, the feel, the vibe, or was that all created once they actually met with Dustin and they thought, "Hey, maybe this could work for him"? Because we've heard stories of, "Hey, we have this character in mind who's going to carry a snake to the ring," or "We have this character in mind who he's just richer than everybody. He's the $1 million man." And so they were looking for certain talents to fill these ideas. Do you think that's what Goldust was? Or was it born out of, "Hey, this could work for Dustin specifically"?
I think Vince and company had the idea to do a character based on what Goldust ended up being. But once Vince got in Dustin's head and was selling him on the concept, the talent themselves, as they should, took partial ownership through the development of that particular TV persona. So I think the idea was there. It was pitched. Dustin contributed to it greatly. But he owned that character as time went on. He was innovative. He added things, little nuances, little subtleties, how he snapped his teeth and things like that. Uh, but he was unmistakable. You didn't have to wonder who that was. He didn't look like anybody else. So and again, let's not forget, he was a hell of a worker. And because he had the aforementioned aptitude, uh, he figured out how to get that character over, and I thought he did a great job with it.
And what's great too is how Dustin was able to embrace it. I mean, Silva, throw some of those photos back up there again. I just want to talk about the real life Dustin Rhodes here. This guy's a hunter, a pickup driver, usually got a dip in his mouth, and he's able to pull this off.
Yeah,
Like that shows you the range of him as a performer, as a character, and his level of commitment. I'm fascinated by guys like him and Johnny B. Bad. I mean, Johnny B. Bad was running around like a little Richard, stunt double. And in
yeah.
real life, the dude's a Golden Gloves boxer. And I mean, it's really remarkable the talent that exists inside of the confines of professional wrestling. And Dustin Rhodes, man, just the real life guy, Dustin Runnels rather, turning into this character shows you how committed he was. Let's talk about the creation of it, because there's a lot of people who believe that Vince McMahon, for whatever reason, has had a hard on for Dusty for a long time. And maybe that's why he called Ted DiBiase's manservant Virgil. We've all heard that Vince thought, hey, if he were going to be a character himself, he would be the $1 million man. At least that's what Pat Patterson told Ted DiBiase. So of course he wanted his own personal manservant to be named Virgil, the real life name of Dusty Rhodes. And then you see Dusty show up and he's in polka dots and he's unclogging toilets and things like that. And then you fast forward and his son comes over and they dress him up and put him in a wig and put lipstick on him. And a lot of people felt like, oh, he's just picking on Dusty. Did you feel that? Do you think Dustin felt that?
Dustin might have felt it. I didn't feel it.
Okay.
Vince's not going to waste television time and production time, creative time to as a joke. So that's a very expensive joke, and I believe that Vince is just trying to create a star, and he and his team did a good job of doing that. I think Lawler and I did a good job of describing the bizarre Goldust. So, but it's a team effort, but it's all about drawing money, not personal issues. Talk about a inside rib that was not that funny. It was even there. I never got that. Because I was in meetings with Vince at a very high level for a long, long time, and I don't remember him ever bad mouthing Dustin. If he did, it was a non-wrestling issue.
Let me ask you about whether or not, to the best of your recollection, anyone else was considered for this Goldust character. I ask because when Steve Austin is wrestling for ECW in this era, there's a match where the crowd starts to chant Goldust. This is before the Goldust character ever appears on WWF TV. Austin's even making mention of the chants of Goldust during an ECW promo after that match. And he said something like, I'm a hell of a lot better than that. And I just can't help but imagine and wonder, did these fans, had they heard rumors or speculation or read in a newsletter somewhere that perhaps Austin was going to be leaving ECW, coming into the WWF, and he would be the Goldust character? That is crazy to think about.
I never thought of that. That's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, Austin is. It's just funny how we overcomplicate shit. It was obvious what Austin needed to be, was going to be, and what made him comfortable. When talents are comfortable in their TV personas, they work extra hard to make sure that those personas are successful.
It was obvious to who, Jim? He came in as the ringmaster, managed by $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Well, you're talking to me, so I'm telling you that my opinion is that Steve's destination was already predetermined. And forget the ringmaster.
Right.
He got him on television and let him work as a rugged heel, physical guy. Because if you think about it, Austin's game, in-ring game, never really changed from the ringmaster to Stone Cold. At least I don't think so. But like, again, I had a vision for Stone Cold, much like I had a vision for Rock at that, I think it was Survivor Series. So I said, there's your blue chipper right there. That's going to be the guy. And that was not planned. I wasn't fed the line. It's just what I felt.
Right.
And Vince is good about letting Lawler and I feel things and then describe it. He was hands-on, was Vince, but not so much that he just killed your creativity.